Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 8. We'll chant from verse 21 to 28.
तमाहुः परमां गतिम् यं प्राप्य न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम पुरुषः स परः पार्थ भक्त्या लभ्यस्त्वनन्यया यस्यान्तस्थानि भूतानि येन सर्वमिदं ततम् यत्र काले त्वनावृत्तिम् आवृत्तिं चैव योगिनः प्रयाता यान्ति तं कालम् वक्ष्यामि भरतर्षभ अग्निर्ज्योतिरः शुक्लः षण्मासा उत्तरायणम् तत्र प्रयाता गच्छन्ति ब्रह्म ब्रह्मविदो जनाः धूमो रात्रिस्तथा कृष्णः षण्मासा दक्षिणायनम् तत्र चान्द्रमसं ज्योतिः योगी प्राप्य निवर्तते शुक्लकृष्णे गतिह्येते जगतः शाश्वते मते एकया यात्यनावृत्तिम् अन्यया वर्तते पुनः नैते श्रुति पार्थ जानन् योगी मुह्यति कश्चन तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु योगयुक्तो भवार्जुन वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानमुपैति चाद्यम्
So, last week we started the last topic from verse number 23 to 28. Paths of return and non-return. And I think we concluded with verse number 24 last week.
Yes, Aminji. Yes.
Okay. So these three paths, they are based on the principle of how desires are created. Path of return, then liberation in stages, which is called as Krama Mukti, and direct liberation, Kaivalya Mukti. So the principle is any action, any desire-ridden action produces more desires in the future. So that's the principle. So if you understand this principle, rest is very easy. So if your actions are backed by selfish intentions, selfish motives, whatever you are doing, it will produce more selfish desires in the future. If your actions are backed by unselfish desires, these are noble desires. You want to help others genuinely, but still they are desire-ridden actions. So if the intention is unselfish, it will produce unselfish desires in the future. But if you perform desireless actions, which is called as nishkama karma, meaning no I, no personalizing, no ego, no prefix, no suffix. So you just plunge into whatever you're doing. Each one has a talent. You perform obligatory duties at home, at work. So you do these duties, you perform actions in the spirit of renunciation. You don't want anything from that. Of course, intellect plans and programs, it goes without saying that there is no desire backing your actions, your activities. So therefore, such actions, desireless actions, will not produce desires in the future. So if you understand this, the rest is very straightforward. So in verse number 24, he talks about a very high quality seeker. He is talking about krama mukti, liberation in stages. So he has total fixation on the goal of self-realization. He has clarity to manage his life, his worldly activities, his spiritual activities. He does it in the spirit of renunciation. But then there are few pockets where he or she slips. It could be worldly duties. They are desire ridden. You want to do something for the world. It's a noble desire, but it becomes a desire. Similarly, spiritual path, there is some attachment. So therefore, your liberation is postponed because you are creating fresh desires. And once you create fresh desires, you have to go through the experience. But then there is state of direct liberation. He's going to talk about it, verse number 26, 27, where you don't get attached to anything at all, either worldly path, either your duties or your spiritual practices. So this is what we covered last week. We concluded with verse number 24. So are we okay? Is group okay? All clear? All right, verse number 25, please.
धूमो रात्रिस्तथा कृष्णः षण्मासा दक्षिणायनम् तत्र चान्द्रमसं ज्योतिः योगी प्राप्य निवर्तते धूमो रात्रिस्तथा कृष्णः षण्मासा दक्षिणायनम् तत्र चान्द्रमसं ज्योतिः योगी प्राप्य निवर्तते.
Translation: smoke, nighttime, dark fortnight, the 6 months of the southern path of the sun, there obtaining the lunar light, the yogi returns. So don't worry about these terms, it's all symbolic. Now, here he's talking about the obscurity of ignorance. Verse number 24, he talked about that intense awareness in the seeker, that what's his mission in life. But here he's talking about a person, he's a good person, but he is lost. He's like a dreamer, a good dreamer, who has no concept of waking up. So he wants to do good deeds in the world. His desires are noble, unselfish desires. But he has no concept of the waking state. And he belongs to the waking state. So similarly, you and I belong to that fourth plane of consciousness. That's my nature, that's your nature. So if you don't have that as a goal, which is referred to as goal of liberation, goal of self-realization, you will be caught up in the terrestrial world, life after life. So therefore, he is using such terms: smoke, darkness. So it blocks your vision. That's what it means. When there is a smoke, when it is darkness, you can't see. So similarly, such a person has no concept of liberation, but he is a good person. There is no doubt about that. So he performs good desire ridden actions as an end in itself. This is where you need to understand. If you understand that all your actions are means to an end, then there is no problem. But if you do these actions as an end in itself, then you are caught up, then you produce more desires. For example, you want to spread this knowledge. It's a noble thought. How many people think on those lines? But if it is desire ridden as an end in itself, as far as you are concerned, it will not liberate you. You'll be pegged down to the terrestrial world. You want to educate children who are not that privileged like you and me. It's a noble thought. That if it is desire ridden, if it is done as an end in itself, then you get caught up. So therefore, it is called as path of return. So no doubt, he is a noble person. He performs good actions, but they are desire ridden and they are performed as an end in itself. I hope you understand this term as an end in itself. It should be means to an end. And also, his approach to spiritual practices is desire ridden. He either revels in the spiritual practices or he wants something for himself or herself. So therefore, it produces more desires. He has no concept of liberation. So therefore, he remains pegged to the terrestrial world, affected by ups and downs of life. Yes, no doubt you get temporary bouts of happiness because you're doing something good. But once that experience is over, again you are back to mundane world. Says something like this. Sometimes you find, that there are children who are not that privileged. So they are playing with practically nothing. Sometimes they could be playing in the muck where you will not allow your children even to go anywhere near that. But they are getting that pleasure. Then there are children who belong to the affluent family. Maybe they belong to the royalty. They have governess, they have all sophisticated toys. Somebody is supervising on them constantly. But child is a child. Now, it doesn't matter whether the child is playing in the muck or whether that child is playing with the sophisticated toys. He is completely lost in the toy world. So the comparison is children playing in the muck is people with selfish desires. Most people are totally self-centered. And children who belong to affluent family, we are equating that to unselfish desires. But how does it matter? As far as your liberation is concerned, you are still pegged down to the terrestrial world. Both are completely lost in the toy world. The child who is playing with the mug, the child who is playing with the sophisticated toys, both are lost in what?
Material world.
Now, for the child I'm talking about,
Toy world.
completely lost in the toy world. You and I understand, it has got no meaning, isn't it? So similarly, vast majority of the people, they are totally self-centered. All their actions are backed by selfish desires. So therefore, they will produce more selfish desires. Then there are minority who have noble desires, unselfish desires, but still they end up producing more unselfish desires. So end of the day, you don't gain anything from your spiritual evolution point of view, from liberation point of view, because it is desire which is the barrier. So the mission in life is to eradicate all our desires. You follow the thought flow. See, I repeat, most people, they are lost with selfish desires, but then there are a handful of people. They genuinely, they want to help others, whatever they are doing, but still they are lost in unselfish desires. From your liberation point of view, you end up generating more desires. That is all. So therefore, it is called as path of return. Are we okay? If something is not clear, feel free to clarify. I'm assuming you understand the basic concepts, because last week they were covered. So now it's just a formality.
Can you explain a desireless action, how that person think for any action to go higher?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah. The desireless action, the person is doing that, how that person, what are the mentality and example, they go in a higher where there is a completely no desire. What kind, how it transferred?
See, last week I gave this example. See, let's take this, like I'm talking to all of you. Now, though I'm talking on Vedanta, the highest knowledge, but my intention could be self-centered. Action is same. I'm talking on scriptures, but my desires are selfish. Second possibility is I genuinely want to share this knowledge with you. I want to help all of you. I want to help the community here. Can you conceive? The second part. First part is easy. Second part, can you conceive? Genuinely, I want to help you.
But that
Unselfish
is also
desires.
a desire, isn't it? That is also a desire.
So
Correct?
that's what we are discussing. But it is noble desire.
Okay.
It is far superior than selfish desire. Selfless action is I just do what I ought to do to the best of my ability. There is no personalization. There is no desire backing this action. Yes, I have put a lot of efforts in acquiring this knowledge. I understand this knowledge has to be shared with the world, but I'm not caught up in result orientation. Unselfish person also could be caught up in result orientation. Why not spread this knowledge? Why not spread this knowledge? Which is good, but still it is unselfish desire. So you will be, such a person will be bogged down by all terrestrial entanglements, ups and downs of life. But selfless is you just do what you ought to do. There is no prefix, there is no suffix. You do whatever you are doing in the spirit of renunciation. You do not personalize anything. That should help you. Unselfish person may personalize why people are not taking this knowledge. Let's do something. Why they are not listening to me? So much I am trying. Selfless action is there is no such thing. Whether people react positively, whether people react negatively, he has got nothing to do with it. He just does what he ought to do in the spirit of renunciation. So there is no ego, there is no I, there is no my, there is no personalizing. So to the extent you start dropping your ego from unselfish action, to that extent you are moving towards selfless action. You get it?
Yeah, but selfless action is the then highest action.
Selfless action is the highest action. So that's what we said in the beginning. Selfish, unselfish, selfless. Only selfless actions will free you from desires. Not selfish, not unselfish.
Thank you.
Verse number 26, please.
Amitji, one doubt.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So the difference between the previous verse and this verse is, in the previous verse, the goal is liberation. is
Mhm.
said. In this verse,
By
there is
previous verse, you mean verse number 24.
24.
Uh-huh.
The goal of liberation is clear in that verse, but still the person attains it in stages. But in this verse, there is no goal of liberation.
Correct.
Okay.
There is no concept of liberation at all. See, you
And-
stick to that dream example. A dreamer a good dreamer, but he has no concept of waking up, as opposed to dreamer in verse number 24, who has understood the purpose of life is to wake up. Dream world is not real. So that's the difference.
And in the when who has set the goal of liberation also will have to move his actions from selfish to unselfish to selfless.
No, he's already at selfless.
Already at self.
But there are small pockets here and there where
Okay.
he slips into unselfish actions.
Okay.
He performs, his actions are like desire ridden,
Okay.
but not for selfish reason, unselfish, genuinely. I mean, again, you stick to the example.
Yes.
I want to help all of you. No, genuinely, I want to help all of you. So I may slip into that. It's
Yes.
unselfish action.
Yes.
Selfless is I just do what I ought to do to the best of my ability. Or even day-to-day activity also, he may perform some unselfish desire-ridden action when he's performing his duties, Instead of, I mean, family example you can take. You just do what you ought to do as far as, how you raise your children, do everything for them, give them best of everything and move out. Why are you lingering, as opposed to you expect something from your children, when they grow, maybe they will take care of me, There are some parents, they may entertain such desires. So it's selfish. Unselfish is you genuinely want to benefit them, but it's desire. It's backed by desire. Selfless is you just do what you ought to do. You're not getting involved. What comes out of that, you don't care. Don't care in the sense you just put efforts. The child may become the most noble person or he may become the most terrible person. I'm magnifying,
Yes.
Your focus is just on doing what you ought to do. So that's the difference.
So the main crux is there is no result orientation in the selfless action. Absolutely no result. And also no motive to.
See, when we say there is no result orientation, there is planning, there is programming.
Yes.
Without goal, how can you function? So intellect plans and programs, but you do what you ought to do in a spirit of renunciation.
Yes.
There is no ego involved there. I am doing it. See, you could be doing noble action, but I am doing it. No, I want to save the world. Here, there is no such thing. You just do what you ought to do. So you use your intellect, you plan, you program, all that goes. It goes without saying. And while doing that, if you're not able to achieve desired results, see, it's not that you're indifferent. Obviously, you will try your level best to correct your action. But it's done in a spirit of renunciation.
Yes.
See, recently we had this retreat just a few weeks back. We tried our level best, right? But also the volunteers got together and discussed what? Can we improve this? No, can we make this event better? So it's not that we are not worried about, we don't care about results, but there is no result orientation. You get the difference.
Yeah.
You just go on fine tuning that action to suit a particular situation. That's all. Are you okay?
Thank you, Miji.
All right. So where are we? I forgot now. Did we chant verse number 26?
No, verse 26.
Okay, verse 26, please.
शुक्लकृष्णे गतिह्येते जगतः शाश्वते मते एकया यात्यनावृत्तिम् अन्यया वर्तते पुनः शुक्लकृष्णे गतिह्येते जगतः शाश्वते मते एकया यात्यनावृत्तिम् अन्यया वर्तते पुनः.
These bright and dark paths of the world are verily deemed eternal. By the one, the man goes not to return, by the other, he returns again. So he is referring to path of return and liberation in stages. Are we clear with that? So what is telling us is an education that both these paths are a complete waste of time. You stick to that example of dream world versus waking state, isn't it? Even though you could be a good dreamer, but having performed good actions, what are you going to do? What are you going to achieve? You will still remain caught up in the dream world. And same for liberation in stages. Why are you wasting your time when you can straight away aim for direct liberation? So therefore he says eternal, and it could be like birth after birth. No, somebody may say, no, I mean, I would like to be a good person. I would like to enjoy that. It's like a bird in a golden cage. So why you want to waste your time? So he's infusing the sense of urgency in you and I. See, what happens is vast majority of the people, they are selfish. They work in life just for themselves, me, my family, nothing beyond that. But then there are a handful of people who genuinely think about others, for the welfare of others, but they are lost in that. So he is saying, raise the bar. Even if you are unselfish, even if you are a sattvic person, still you are lost in the world, the terrestrial world. So the aim in life is to go beyond the world. The state of self-realization is beyond the terrestrial world, beyond body, mind, intellect. So why are you playing with this terrestrial world which does not exist? Because good many people, 99.99%, I'm talking about unselfish people, they are totally lost. Just find out in the world what is happening. They mean well, they want to do good for the world, but they are completely lost, they are attached. So he's saying raise the bar. From selfish, you have come to unselfish, which is great, but don't stay put there. From unselfish, you must aim for what?
Selfless.
Selfless action. Otherwise, you are wasting your time. See, it's like somebody plays sports, like baseball. You know, you could be good at school level, but then when you go to the state level, you have to raise the bar, isn't it? When you are playing at a state level, if you have to go to international level, still you need to raise the bar. So why do you stay put at state level? This is what he's saying. So a true seeker does everything in a spirit of detachment. This is the education. This is what we learn. Whether it is your worldly duties, whether it is your approach to the spiritual practices, you don't get involved. You do it in a spirit of detachment. You do it in a spirit of renunciation. So he is trying to infuse that sense of urgency in all of us. So it's a simple message, verse number 26. 27, please.
नैते श्रुति पार्थ जानन् योगी मुह्यति कश्चन तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु योगयुक्तो bhavarjuna. Naite shriti partha janan yogi muhyati kaschana tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna.
What is happening? Are we done? Yeah. Translation. Knowing these two paths, O Partha, no yogi is deluded. Therefore, Arjuna, be steadfast in yoga at all times. Yoga yuktaha. Important verse. Now, when he uses the word yogi, it is derived from the word yuj. All of you know, I'm just repeating. Yuj is derived from the word to unite. Unite with the self, unite with the divinity from which we are separated. Now, what creates that separation? See, life's mission, whether you read Bible, whether you read any scripture, they keep on telling us life's mission is to unite with the divinity, which is the core of our personality. So when we say we have to unite, what is understood is there is separation. Otherwise, where there is a question of uniting. So what creates that separation? What is the cause of that separation?
Ignorance.
Mhm.
Desire.
Desires. Excellent. It is a desire which is the barrier between man and divinity. So therefore, our life's mission is to get rid of all our desires. And all religions, they have personified desire as something negative, like Satan or Shaitan. Buddhism, they call it as Asura. In Hinduism, they call it as Mara. So due to desires, you become a conditioned person. And once you are conditioned, you do not know your real nature. That's the problem. You are busy playing with desires at body, mind, intellect level throughout your life. And nobody can pull you from these desires. It is impossible. See, just as no child is aware that he is lost in the toy world. Can you find a child in the world, maybe as an exception, who is aware that he is lost in the toy world? What is your observation? Can you find a child in the world, anywhere, America, India, China, wherever, Russia, 8, 9-year-old child, he is aware that he is caught up in a toy world. Is it possible? Simple
No.
question. It's not complicated question.
No.
Impossible. So similarly, you and I are completely caught up in the world. Not only we are completely caught up in the world, we are not aware that we are caught up. See, that's that conditioning. Are you with me? See, I repeat, what creates separation is our desires. And once you create desires, once you start operating at a level of desires, which all of us are doing, you become a conditioned person. You're conditioned by your desires. So when you are conditioned by your desires, you do not know your real nature. Your real nature, the core of your personality is truth, the reality, divinity. And nobody can make you aware of that. It's impossible. Just as it is impossible to educate a child that he or she is lost in the toy world. So nobody can educate you. That's the difficulty these great masters they are having. See, throughout Bhagavad Gita, he keeps on using the word bala. Bala means children. Children, children. All of us are children. Busy playing with what? I know somebody may get offended. Do you know I'm the CEO of a company? You know, I can see that reaction on somebody's, busy playing with desires. That is all. So therefore, awareness of your own state is the first lesson. You are in a state of ignorance. Somebody said very rightly, you are in a state of ignorance. All of us are in a state of ignorance. And what scriptures are telling us? That you are that infinity. But we don't know that. And what this infinity is doing, we believe ourselves to be a limited, restricted individual. That's the tragedy. So once you understand this, that you are that truth, you are that divinity which is conditioned by desires, then you develop that burning desire for liberation. We often use that word, mumukshutva. Mumukshutva is burning desire for liberation. Otherwise, why would you develop that burning desire for liberation? See, somebody is staying in poverty. I'm giving you simple example. That person has understood this is not a way to live life. There is no proper hygiene, sewage is in the open. The moment he understands that I can't live in this muck, what will he do? What will she do?
He will strive to free himself from that situation.
You will do anything to come out of that muck, isn't it? So similarly, that muck is unnecessarily we are going through stress, worry, anxiety, disharmony, conflicts, whether at internal level or external level. So that's the state we have fallen into. So once you understand that, then that burning desire for liberation comes, not otherwise. See, otherwise you are quite complacent. All of us are quite complacent. I got a nice job, I got a nice partner, no financial worries, with God's grace, everything is perfect. Child is saying that with God's grace, I got all the toys in the world. Does it have any meaning? See, some of you have been to Vedanta Academy, good many of you have been there during retreat time. So one of the events is everybody is taken to see Swamiji's room. How many have been to Swamiji's room? So what do you learn there? When you visit Swamiji's room, as an
Perfection.
example I'm giving you, what is the education? Don't say I felt very nice, fine, but what is the education there?
Cleanliness, perfection, and properly arranged. Everything is very, very clearly arranged, and
It's like an art.
yeah.
So once you see that, again, don't take it personally, and then you compare our room, the way we manage our house, the whole thing, I'm not saying everybody is doing that. I mean, what happens? What happens? I know I'm giving you a silly example, but once you see, once that awakening comes, once that awareness comes, this is how the room should be managed. And then when we see our room, things are lying everywhere. Some of the houses, the bed, all the clothes are lying all the time. In last year, we went to somebody's house. I forgot where, whether it was in New York or somewhere. Every there were like 4 or 5 rooms, so they told us to use restroom. Every room we went, there were clothes lying on the bed, heaps of clothes. So when you see that awakening comes, this is how the room should be maintained or should not be maintained. So similarly, once that awakening comes, what is that awakening? That you are that truth, you are that divinity, you belong to that infinite peace, infinite bliss. And what have you done to yourself unnecessarily? Then that liberation comes, that mumukshutva comes. And once that awakening comes, doesn't matter after that. You'll put efforts to come out of that conditioning, not otherwise. So only when that awakening comes, only when it hits you, you will put efforts to come out of the conditioned state. But for that to happen, you need to understand that you are conditioned. Conditioned by what? Ups and downs of life. Conditioned by challenges of life. That infinity, that's what you are, is reduced to nobody. Some challenge comes in your life and you're crying like a baby. Oh my God, what happened? What happened? That's that conditioning. So once it hits you, once that awakening comes, your spiritual journey starts, not till then. So that's what he's telling us. Knowing these two paths, already explained. O Pártha, Arjuna, no yogi meaning spiritual seeker, is deluded. You have understood your mission in life. So therefore, be steadfast in yoga, be steadfast in your spiritual practices, be steadfast in your efforts to evolve as a good human being. Are we okay? Verse number 28.
वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानमुपैति चाद्यम् वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानमुपैति चाद्यम्.
Whatever meritorious fruit is assigned to Vedas, meaning this knowledge, sacrifices, austerities, and also to gifts. Vedeshu, Yadneshu, Tapasu, Daneshu. The yogi rises above all these by having known this and goes to the supreme primeval abode. Now, last verse, but extremely important. See, mind has a tendency to get attached to anything it contacts. So that's the nature of mind, my mind, your mind. So you start a family, you get attached to family. You have children, you become possessive, attached to children. You earn money, you get attached to money. You get some name, fame, position, reputation, you get attached to all that. And the same mind, if you take to spiritual path, it gets attached to spiritual path also. And why that happens? When that happens? When your intellect is weak. So if intellect is weak, whatever you contact in the world, which includes spiritual path, you will be attached to that. So a true seeker does everything in the spirit of detachment. That's the hallmark of a true spiritual seeker. See, even when he contacts any aspect of the world, when he does his worldly activities, worldly duties, he understands they are means to an end. You have to do your duties. How can you not do your duties if you are in family? By doing duties, you evolve. That is means to an end. But if you get attached to the duties, then you devolve. Similarly, in your own profession, you have to do your duties. But if you get attached to your duties, you devolve. You don't progress spiritually. So the true seeker takes to worldly activities as means to an end. Not interested in name, fame, position, whatever you offer to him. He may have it, he may not have it. So he just do what he ought to do and moves on. See, in a dream, somebody says to you that you're the best dreamer, you have been selected for a Nobel Prize. What will be your reaction? You're the best dreamer in a dream world, and there is a dream committee, and they have selected, I don't know who, Vijay. He's going to receive the Nobel Prize. What will Dream Vijay say? If he has understood dream world is not real, what will be his reaction?
He'd be happy. He'd be proud.
But it has got no meaning. In the dream world, he belongs to the waking state. So what honor or any dishonor, forget about honor, dishonor, you're the worst person, you have been condemned. So what value it will have?
If you are not attached to it, you feel
No
detached
value.
from everything.
You can't even, you're not wrong. See, it has got no meaning.
Yes.
To get attached to anything in the dream, I mean, you have to have some value. It has got absolutely no meaning. See, all of us are given the opportunity to attend kindergarten for a month. I'm giving you a silly example, right? We are 35, 45, 50, whatever is our age. And 1 month you attend kindergarten with other actually kindergarten kids. And there you are selected as the best student. You're 45. In the kindergarten, you are selected as the best student. I mean, what will be your reaction?
No value.
I mean, you laugh. I mean, it is funny example, but that's not what is happening. We have value for what the world has to offer due to ignorance. So a true seeker, when that awakening comes, such a person, yogi, true seeker, has no value for what the world has to offer. This is how you find out where you are. You may have best of things, you may have worst of things. It doesn't make any difference. So why would you get stuck to anything in the world? Number one. Number two, also you understand that spiritual practices are means to an end. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. These are the three spiritual practices: path of action, path of devotion, path of knowledge. So without these three spiritual practices, you cannot evolve. You cannot eliminate your desires. But if you get attached to the spiritual path, it defeats the purpose. You end up creating more desires. See, it's like medicine is given for what? The purpose of medicine is what? If you're sick, doctor gives you medicine. The purpose of medicine is what?
To cure the disease.
To cure the disease. But if that medicine is adding to the disease, I mean, what kind of a medicine is that? So similarly, what is the medicine for spiritual evolution? How do you get rid of your desires? How do you purify your desires? Path of action, path of devotion, path of knowledge. Without these three spiritual practices, you cannot evolve. But if you get attached to these spiritual practices, you stay put. So you just playing with desires, different set of desires. That is all. And same thing, same concept applies. Sacrifice, austerity, charity. Yadneshu, tapasu, daneshu. So we have been saying you have to function in the spirit of service and sacrifice. You have to live simple and frugal life. You have to be charitable. These are means to an end. But if you get attached to this lifestyle, it defeats the whole purpose completely. I think somebody had asked this question a few weeks back. I forget whether it was Sachdeva uncle or Radha. I think it was Radha's question, right? In Q&A. Was it your question?
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
sure. Not
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, somebody asked the question. See, so far we have been saying that you have to live a simple and frugal life. It goes without saying, you have to be charitable. You have to function in the spirit of service and sacrifice. But if you get attached to that, it defeats the whole purpose. Then you start reveling in that lifestyle. See, there is nothing wrong when you sacrifice, when you function unselfishly, when you do charity, when you live a simple and frugal life. Naturally, you are going to feel calm and composed. But if you do that, if you live a simple and frugal life to enjoy that feeling, it defeats the whole purpose. I hope I'm making myself clear. See, you're just reveling at a mental level. That is all. See, at a gross level, person he gets drunk or he does drugs. So he gets that kick. Exactly same thing you could be doing at a mental level. So you're playing with very fine, subtle desires. But you will stay put. So therefore, it is means to an end. You have to be unselfish. You have to live a simple and frugal life. You need to be charitable. But if you take it as an end in itself, then you will not evolve. You stay put. So therefore, he says, whatever meritorious fruit is assigned to Vedas, meaning this knowledge, don't get attached to this knowledge. Sacrifice, austerities, and also to gifts. The yogi rises above all these by having known this and goes to the supreme primeval abode. So whether it is worldly duties, whether it is your spiritual path, you do it in the spirit of detachment, you do it in the spirit of renunciation. Are we okay? So yeah, that's it. This concludes the chapter number 8. So at the end of the chapter, we chant. That is, if you have the book with you, can you play that, Vijay?
ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासूपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे अक्षरब्रह्मयोगो नाम अष्टमोऽध्यायः.
So we chant verse number 1 of chapter 8, meaning study is not over.
Arjuna uvacha kim tad brahma kimadhyatmam kim karma purushottama adhibhutam cha kim proktam adhidaivam kimuchyate.
So next week we will start chapter number 9. Raja Vidya Rajaguhya Yoga, the yoga of royal knowledge and royal secret. So any questions from what we discussed today or from chapter 8? Yeah, there is announcement also, Radha is going to announce, but before that, any quick doubts?
So, Namaskaram, Swamiji. So, the one thing I feel was like when things go well in our life, we get attached to it and we immediately take pride. But when things go wrong, we say it is just a dream. So, what if it goes wrong anyway, right? So depending on the scenario that evolves, we keep using this the philosophy that we have, or any religious text that we have. So that itself is kind of a vicious circle, and it's kind of tough to come out of it. Even though mentally and intellectually we understand that this is the text, this is what we understand. But in practice, uh, we don't know exactly when the situation arises. We don't know exactly where we are, what we have to do, or how exactly to stop that. Right, with the mingling of both our selfishness and our unselfishness, and also selfless nature. Right, where that exact boundary stops. Right, it is very difficult to see that.
See, you can get attached to joy, you can get attached to sorrow also. Joy is everything going perfect in my life. Sorrow is nothing is going well. No, I am miserable, my problem, my sorrow, my tragedy. Either way, we are getting attached. See, it's like a child. Child may get excited with the toys. The same child within 10 minutes, it will start crying. So it is at that particular level. So if you are at that particular level, you will be crushed by good and bad things, joy and sorrow. So therefore, what you need, you said, right, you need this knowledge, but knowledge alone is not enough. We all know what is right, what is wrong, what are the right values, higher values of life. This is what we have been studying. But how many of us are able to apply that in our day-to-day life? That is because there is no reflection. So the teacher or textbook can give you only knowledge. They cannot give you wisdom. This is what you are asking. So wisdom is a product of your own study and reflection. You need to absorb this knowledge. You have to absorb these values. And to the extent you absorb this knowledge, to that extent you will leave this knowledge. So it happens in stages, 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%. But just reading or listening is not going to help. So that's the problem with most people. So it is called as Shravana. Shravana means listen or read. And for knowledge to transform into wisdom, what you need is manana. Manana is reflection. So Shravana alone is not enough. You may listen to the lectures, you may keep on reading books. It is not going to bring about any change in your life if there is no study and reflection. There is no effort to absorb this knowledge. That's the problem with most people. But you don't have to worry. I mean, 10% you are established, 10% you will apply. 20% you are established in this knowledge, 20% you will apply. So anyway, it is a win-win situation. Are we okay?
Yes, Sri. Yeah.
All right, so Radha, what's the announcement?
This summer, we will have the unique opportunity to listen to a 7-part lecture series on the Ishavasya Upanishad taught by Amitji. The series begins on Sunday, August 10th and ends on Sunday, September 21st. The timing is 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It is a hybrid model with the classes being both in person and online. In-person classes will be held in Troy, Michigan. Information regarding the series classes and in-person attendance will be sent out to you by email by mid-July. This is an excellent opportunity to introduce your contacts to the subjects. You can share this information with any of your friends, family, and contacts who may be interested. Thank you.
So have a good weekend. And next week, class will be from India. I'll be visiting Vedanta Academy. And the duration of the class will be 45 minutes, not 1 hour, because it gets quite late. So see you next week. We'll start chapter number 9.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amiji.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
That was outstanding.
Thank you, Amitji.